everyone, and welcome to Open. I'm Rena Valentin, your host, Café con Leche, every Friday. Here's what's coming up in today's show. First up, we have Rachel Libretti, the Director of Events and Programming for the Bronx Zoo, who's here to tell us all about the new Holiday Light Show. Then we're joined by Sharon Collins, a STEAM coordinator and high school mathematics teacher at New Heights Academy Charter School, and we're followed by Libertad Oguerra, the Executive Director and Chief Curator at the Clemente Soto Velez Cultural and Educational Center. Then composer, producer, and musician Dr. Eli Yemen is here to tell us all about his band's new album, Squeezing Tight Jazz and Blues Songs for Solidarity. And finally, this week's Open Our Spotlight shines on the Eli Yemen Jazz and Blues Band, so sit back, prepárate. All this and more is headed your way because now we are officially open. Hello and welcome to Open, everyone. I'm Rena Valentin, your host, Café con Leche, for the next hour, inviting you to get social with us online. That is, follow us on Instagram at BronxNet TV or like us on Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. And of course, while you're there, don't forget, follow moi on FB, Instagram, Insta Stories, Threads, and LinkedIn at Rena Valentin. Bueno, as you know, the holidays are right around the corner, and what better way to get you into the holiday spirit than with a light show? That's right, the magic of the holidays are back at the Bronx Zoo with Holiday Lights. The Bronx Zoo Family Festival Holiday Lights returns with millions of lights and a thrilling new freeze zone with more than 400 lanterns representing almost 100 animal and plant species on display, all to create long-lasting memories at one of New York City's most magical holiday traditions. And here to share more, we welcome the Bronx Zoo Director of Events and Programming, Rachel Libretti. Hello and welcome.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
Oh my goodness, we are so excited to have you on, and of course, modern in a modern form, I might add, which is something that's also been implemented into this celebration that I'm looking forward to sharing with our viewers. But first, let's just give them a little background on the holiday lights at the Bronx Zoo.
So this is our 7th year. We're making family traditions for generations, and we're super excited to be offering some new stuff this year, including our free zone with snow tubes and digital snowball fights. And, well, I'm not supposed to call it fights, but a little bit of fun. And, an ice throne. So just a lot of activities for the family to enjoy. And as we've been putting it up, we're realizing that kids come in all different age forms these days because all the adults here are having a blast testing it, and we're all kids at heart at this point.
Can you walk us through what the experience would be like? Because there's so much being offered that I want to have an idea of what that looks like the minute you walk in through the gate, and what the, I guess, where you're able to go and experience the different activities.
So one of the things that makes us really unique and that we love about our program is that there's just something magical at every corner. It's a big portion of the zoo that is open for holiday lights. And literally you're traversing through 6 different lanterns, lantern trails. There's activities from wildlife theater to animal bingo and some games. There's the freeze zone. There's s'mores making, which is amazing. So if you haven't made a s'more, this is the place to do it. We have stilt walkers and we have puppeteers, and there's just literally around every turn, there's just something magical that's happening.
Yeah, I mean, I know we have an image of the s'mores making, and I hope we're going to be able to share that because it's something to have like a station, right? Because that's what it looks like. It's a station where you just go and make s'mores.
Yep.
And
Yep.
then you have ice sculpting too?
We do. We have these amazing ice carvers. They just take a block of ice, and I've been watching them do them for years, and I still don't understand how they do it. Even as I watch it, it's just quite artistic and so talented. And they take requests from the audience. So, you pick an animal and they make it, out of a block of ice. It's pretty incredible.
All right, so all of this really kicks in at sundown, right? Obviously, because it's a light show.
Yeah.
However, right, and so until what time do people have to indulge in all of these activities?
So the hours for holiday lights are 4:30 to 9 p.m. with the last entry at 8 p.m. And you need a couple hours just to get through it. So it's one of those things where if you're coming, you're spending the evening with us. You're going to spend a couple of hours, wear comfortable shoes, walk around, and enjoy everything.
And so I listed some of the activities. So we've got the ice throne photo ops, right?
Yep.
And then we've got the snow tube slides. Wait, talk to me about that. I'm like, where? What? I'm sorry, what?
So, we don't have that much snow these days. So it's basically, a big slide that we have snow tubes that you go down. And it just we're so excited about it. And just watching people pass by as we've been setting it up, and you could see their excitement. So that is making us happy to know that I think we got something pretty magical happening.
Well, it sounds it. Again, I personally do not miss my days of sled riding. However, this sounds really fun. And then you've got the snow, the what was it? The talking snowman.
So it's actually a photo op. We're working on some of those things, but there's also the digital throw. So it's kind of like you have a lot of fun, but not all the mess that comes with actual snow tubing and throwing some snowballs, right? So it's the best of both worlds. You don't have to get wet, and you just have a lot of fun, and then just keep walking.
Oh my gosh! Don't you have parents' best interests at heart?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Because I love it. You're like, you don't have to get wet. There's no mess. I'm like, yes, yes. Where was this when my daughter was growing up? I mean, she's still a teenager, but God forbid I mention anything like this. It's like we've outgrown these type of things. Not me though. Never, never. So, is there anything that we didn't review based on your expansion? I'm just going through my notes here. Oh, the Enchanted Sea.
So it's an indoor area, and we've kind of created this magical sort of underwater experience through projections and puppetry, and really cool effects and stuff like that. So we're really excited about it. We've expanded that experience. We've had it for a while, but wanted to take it to the next level. And those who have been here before will see a huge difference in that area.
So I understand that it is it's interactive and you've created it to be an immersive experience. So can you share a little bit what that means to a person who steps in from the cold and now goes into the sea?
Sure. So you're coming into an enclosed area, and above you and around you will all be projections, so it feels like you're underwater.
Nice.
And no deep diving scuba needed at all. So once again, we're looking at parents and giving you good options, and then just some really cool blacklight puppetry. So the feeling is that you're kind of underwater and immersed in sort of the beauty and the enchantment of the sea.
Oh my, that sounds meditative. And so it's almost like a break from all of the lights and all the activities, is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. And so, lastly, I understand that this is only taking place like through the extended weekend days and times, right? So,
So
but
it's select nights. Yeah, so it's select nights from the 21st of November through January 4th. And if you go online, you could see the dates. And then once school break starts, then we go nightly.
and so are reservations recommended in advance?
Yes, yes.
Do you have like limited participants? Like, how do you allocate how many people can be in the actual, rather, I guess, in the activities? Because if you're creating these nooks, right, of different activities, I would imagine that it's limited to a certain amount of people.
It's pretty expansive what we can do. It's also a really large footprint of the zoo. So while all these activities are taking place, you're going through trails, you're experiencing treats. So there's never any point where there's just one area that's like fully concentrated. So which is also the nice part of it, which is you kind of take your time. Some people will take a little bit longer through the trails and get to learn our animal names, and learn about what we do both here locally and globally. So it's really just a pretty expansive experience.
And so the last thing I wanted to mention is the lanterns, right? Because you're really highlighting the animals and the wildlife. So talk to us about that before we go.
Sure. So our lanterns represent not only our parks here in New York City, so Bronx Zoo, New York Aquarium, our city zoos, but also what we do globally. So we have programs in over 64 countries, and these lanterns really are representative of what WCS does both locally and globally.
Beautiful. And how many are on display?
Over 400.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And is there somebody guiding and also informing in the process?
So there's a digital map, but there's also a physical map that you can kind of navigate how you want to experience it. And again, at your own pace. And there's just a lot of things to do in between. So yeah, and then we do have, for the first time, we have our different signs for animals, both in English and in Spanish, which is really exciting for us as we move into that wonderful direction of sort of being more inclusive and allowing all guests to understand and learn the language, and kind of identify the animals. Some of them are really easy, some are a little bit, oh, what is that? It's a cassowary. And so those are really exciting moments for us.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, bilingual, absolutely. Inclusive and informative, right? So it's like you can choose to just go and have a good time. You could be with your family, you could be on a date, or you can actually go to enhance your knowledge of the different animals that are actually exist in the wildlife in lantern form.
In lantern
Beautiful.
form.
Love it. Thank you so much for bringing it here. Rachel Libretti, everyone, Director of Events and Programming at the Bronx Zoo. And if you're interested in more information on the holiday lights at the Bronx Zoo, you can go to bronxzoo.org and or visit them on Instagram at Bronx Zoo. All right, stay tuned. There's more open when we return. Hey everyone, welcome back to Open. Our next guest is a high school teacher at New Heights Academy Charter School who has recently been recognized by the White House as the 2023 winner of the New York State Presidential Award for Excellence in Mathematics and Science Teaching. That is the highest honor for K to 12 STEM teachers in America. She teaches AP Calculus AB, AP Pre-Calculus, and Statistics at New Heights Academy Charter School in Harlem, where she was the inaugural One Goal Program Director and now serves as the first STEAM Coordinator. Everyone, please welcome Sharon Collins. Hello and welcome. And, if you're not an educator, right, you're not in the field, what we do know as a parent is like you're someone of high value.
Thank you, Rena. That means so much.
So welcome and thank you for making the time to be here with us today. I would like for our viewers to have a better understanding of what your journey has been like. So I'm interested in knowing, which I didn't share, is that you originate from engineering, right?
Yeah.
And so how was that? I guess what happened or that created the shift in shifting from engineering into becoming an educator?
Absolutely. So I loved school as a child. I loved high school. I was in every extracurricular, taking all possible classes, AP classes. And when I went to college, I was a first generation college student. And that just opened up my world. I grew up in New Jersey. I came to New York City for college. I went to Manhattan College, now called Manhattan University in the Bronx.
Nice.
And it was just an amazing experience. And I studied chemical engineering at Manhattan. I then went on to Columbia to study environmental engineering because I'm really passionate about environmental issues and helping communities. And it was actually at Columbia where Teach for America made a presentation. Their current core members and alumni spoke about it. I left that session. I went home to my then boyfriend, now husband, David, and I told him, I just found out what I want to do with the rest of my life. I applied to Teach for America. When I found out I got accepted, it was one of the greatest moments of my life. I did my training in Houston at Institute, and I fell in love with teaching. It became my passion and my calling.
Yeah, that's so beautiful, and you could see it in the way you're just sharing your journey with us. And you love it so much to the point that now you teach teachers as well.
Yes, yes. So I started off my teaching career here in the Bronx. That's why I'm so happy to be on this show with you. I first taught at IS 183 by Lincoln Hospital. That was my Teach for America placement school. And then I went on to teach at the Bronx Preparatory Charter School, where I moved from middle school teaching to high school teaching. And now I'm at New Heights Academy in Harlem. And as my career has progressed, I've really enjoyed teaching students. That's my first love, but now I love teaching teachers. I get to do that. I'm part of Math for America also. And through Math for America, I run peer learning teams and I co-facilitate mini courses and workshops where I get to teach New York City math and science teachers. And that's been an incredible experience. I actually was just up in Rochester presenting at a conference at the Association of Math Teachers of New York State. They had a conference, their 75th anniversary conference, and I got to speak there in a ballroom. It was an incredible experience.
So, I look at you and you're so radiant and you're so enthusiastic about talking about a subject I think most of us don't really care for. Only because it's so challenging to grasp. It's its own language.
It is. Math is its language, like you're saying. It is totally its own language. In my classroom, I try to show students how math relates to their lives and the world around them. So in the statistics class I teach, we just did a project looking at the healthiest fast food in Harlem and Washington Heights. So students were so into that, they're like, I'm interested in this. This is what I eat every day. Let me find out if it's healthy or unhealthy for me. So I really try to bring that enthusiasm to my students and make the mathematics about their lives. And I always say to them, if you walk into my classroom hating math, I want you to leave the class loving math. And some students, the transformation happened already. They love to come to my class because it is a place where the students are centered in my classroom.
Right, which brings us to your choice of high school, especially after winning this award. But let's talk a little bit about the Presidential Award for Excellence in Mathematics and Science. How were you nominated? How were you recognized? Like, how did they find you?
Excellent question. So the process, how it goes is that the application process is you first apply in each of the 50 states. You do your own state. So it was an extensive application. My husband had to come in and video my AP Calculus class. And then I found out about a month later that they had selected 3 state finalists in mathematics. That was super exciting. They gave me feedback, like I give my students feedback. I had some changes to make in my application, and then it was sent on to Washington, D.C., where the panel, this went through the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy, where they reviewed all the applications, and it took a while. I was nominated in 2023. I didn't find out till January 2025 from President Biden when he announced the winners. And I was with my students when I found out. I screamed out in excitement. I was with my AP Calculus students.
Well, congratulations on that. And if I'm clear, you're saying you just found out this year
It took
that
2
you
years.
won 2023.
Yes.
By the other administration, of course, by President Joe Biden.
Yes.
And that's fascinating. I just wondered how that worked because he's technically not in office.
Yeah, it was right. It was literally his last week in office. It was like I found out on January 13th, which is, what dreams may come true day. And I was like, oh my goodness, my dream just came true. And my birthday was a week later. So it was the best birthday present ever.
Amazing. So that was one of his completion
Yes,
tasks. Oh,
exactly.
wow. And you were part of that.
Yes.
How historical.
It was amazing.
Well, it's historical that you've been recognized for your excellence. And so that being said, carrying this, this very prestigious accolade, right?
Yes.
Why the charter school that you teach at?
Yes. So what brought me to New Heights is I really felt a strong desire to teach in the community where I live. I live in Washington Heights. Our school is kind of on the border of Harlem and the Heights. And it is a community where I have blossomed as a teacher. It's a place where I've been able to create my own curriculum. I create my own projects. I have had the opportunity to do leadership, like you said. I have been math department chair at the school. And now I'm their inaugural STEAM coordinator. We're trying to transform our school to be a STEAM school to focus on science and the arts and mathematics. But really what keeps me at New Heights are the students. My amazing students are incredible. They inspire me every day to come to work. They make each day a joy to be around them. And this award really recognizes them as much as me.
Well, you're passing it on, right? So do you have a success story that you could share with us?
Oh my goodness, there are so many success stories, but one of them I can share is I was just up in Rochester, like I told you, and I visited one of my former students. He went to RIT. His name is Randy, and he was in my AP Calculus class. And Randy, I got to know him in 9th grade before I even taught him. He was doing a presentation in his English class. I went up to him afterwards. I'm like, I want to teach you one day. You are phenomenal. He went away to college, and it was a really rough transition. Going from New York City to upstate, he at first wanted to leave. He said he didn't want to be there. I talked to him on the phone, and during summer vacation, I'm like, Randy, stay, right? Go through this challenging. The summer is, get through that. You're going to love this environment. He did so well at RIT as a bio major. He published in academic papers as a freshman in college. Like, that's unheard of. And I just visited him. He works in a lab right now. He told me, Sharon, because of you, I'm taking math classes right now just on my own. I'm really interested in math still. And he's weighing like going back to school for math or to pharmacy school. So he is just like an amazing success story.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
You look like a proud mama bear.
I consider all my students my children. It's so true. I absolutely feel that way.
So before we go, if anyone's listening, what would you like them to leave with? Understanding. I mean, obviously you're in a specific school and you also teach teachers. So I don't know what that process is if somebody's listening right now who may want to learn from your teachings.
Yes, I would love, we need excellent teachers, right? There's a nationwide teacher shortage right now. We need people in the classroom. It is so true that teachers change lives. Like, everyone can think back on their educational journey and can think of at least one person who really inspired them in their lives. So I would encourage people out there, become teachers or volunteer in schools. We would love to connect our schools with the communities. And they really are places that can, like for me, a first-generation college student can make dreams come true.
Well, if that's not enrolling, how about this? Sharon Collins just took the time out of her day to be here with us to share this with you guys. And we're so proud to share these individuals with you guys because, she is the 2023 New York State winner of the Presidential Award for Excellence in Mathematics and Science Teachings. And while we're saying it's the 2023, she just learned about this award in 2025 as Biden was departing his administration. And we're proud to be able to highlight individuals who are here making sure that they pass it on to the next generation within our community and making themselves accessible and not only teaching the next generation, but teaching the people who are teaching the next generation so that we're elevating the way we're teaching and upholding integrity and not really limiting based on our environments.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we thank you.
Thank you
for
so
bringing
much.
it here. Once again, if you're interested in more information, you can follow Shannon on her Instagram at Collins NYC Mom, or on X at Collins NYC. All right, stay tuned. There's more open when we return. Hey everyone, welcome back to Open. Our next guest is an anthropologist, curator, and cultural organizer. She is currently the executive director of the Clemente Soto Velez Cultural and Educational Center, or as we call it, the Clemente. And a year ago, she led the launch of Historias, a 3-year project celebrating the impact of Latinx communities in New York City. Here to share more about Historias, we welcome Executive Director and Chief Curator of the Clemente, Libertad o Guerra. Hello and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me here, Evrina.
Bueno, ya era tiempo. We are so happy to have you on, Libertad. You have been doing such an amazing job. Just making sure that we are on record and also that we know our history.
Yeah, so important. As a Bronxite, I'm so proud of it, and I thought that that they're needed. We're the third largest, we're the biggest immigrant group in New York City, Latinos, if you take them all together, not just Puerto Ricans. And still our stories are so segregated and so dispersed that there needed to be something about where, especially in times that they're trying to erase us, where you can find consolidated way of how we've shaped that from the ground up, not necessarily from the top down of what they tell us that we mean.
Right, exactly. Us telling our own stories.
Yes.
That's right. And making sure that we're telling it the way we want to be represented.
Exactly.
Right. And so, that being said, coming from being an anthropologist, excuse me, into being an executive director of the Clemente, how does that role feed the other one?
Oh, totally. It's very different skill sets. And one is more obviously administrative production, but the cultural one, the anthropologist in me, is the one that I always wanted to merge the aspect of cultural producing, elevating artists, what the arts have to say, but also with the historical aspect, with what makes culture and how we relate to it. So that's this Historias initiative that we've launched in the past year during a time that the Clemente is under construction because we're renovating a huge historical building that we stored, is city owned, and it's been an anchor of the community for so long. But we were asking, how do we do while we're kind of part of in construction, but we're still active? And this was the perfect opportunity for us to take on this merger of the culture, the public history, really, that culture should be about, and how it deals with the arts as well.
Got it. And so while that's happening, you also formed a consortium. Well, you co-founded a consortium, I should say, right? The Latinx Arts Consortium of New York. And so that, from what I understand, was formed after the pandemic.
So needed. So we all remember those times. And for Latino organizations, it was hitting us doubly because our communities were being doubly affected at the time. So we decided to come together. I remember Pregones from the Bronx, BAD, the Clemente, to put our heads together to peer exchange, to have each other's back, but also to advocate for the health of the field and at such an important moment. And then we've kept on, existing, and it has grown to 50 plus organizations.
Wow. So LXNY kind of, to me, sounds almost like a chamber of a sort, right?
Yes, it is. It is. We advocate behind the scenes for equity for Latino-centered institutions in the arts and culture, but we also collaborate and partner for public-facing events.
And so, aside from being the executive director of the Clemente and being the co-founder of LXNY. LXNY is also a co-presenter of Historias, which is really what we're here to talk about because the launch of Historias already occurred in 2024. However, it's a 3 years program, and you've got so many things that have already happened that we're kind of sad that we're getting you on at the tail end of 2025's presentations. However, let's just share with everyone what that launch looked like and what you've accomplished thus far.
So it's so huge. How do we contain the impact of Latinidad, which is so diverse? Latinos are not just one thing, right? And the impact it's had in shaping what New York City is, right? So we divided that. We knew it was going to be a big endeavor, and we didn't want to be, oh, this is it at the end, tail end, oh, here's an exhibit. So what we did is we divided the 3 years into sembradas, which is like we're sitting and creating connections with all the cultural workers and the historians, community people. Then we're currently at Entre Cruzadas, where we're weaving that knowledge on those seeds that we started putting in last year that include commissions to artists. It includes a lot of different signature programs. And then finally, in the next year, Reveladas, Revealed, will be when our new renovated and accessible, fully accessible building will be launched. And then we will also launch Reveladas Historias with a big anchor exhibit of the building and a lot of other programs.
Right. So there's been a lot of activities in different aspects of the arts, right? I know that you did something recently with El Museo del Barrio, right? You mentioned the
Yes.
Dia de los Muertos. I know we missed highlighting that, but it's still on display. It's currently on
Yes.
display and will be until November.
The altar with Nisa Tufino and an accompanying video where you can go behind the scenes of what it means and who she's honoring there.
And so there's that. And then there's the component of the Domino Table Talk series. And again, I'm trying to consolidate because the vision is so it's big, it's needed, and it's
Like Latinos.
Right. Exactly. But it's also important that whomever is watching and listening in this present moment understand the importance of us really revisiting our stories that are told by us, right? So right now we're showing a little snippet of the Domino Table Talk. And so what is the actual vision behind this?
Culture is what happens in the streets and how everyday people appropriate public spaces. That's how we shape New York City. So we thought, why don't we invert the typical panel of experts and we take it into elevating a typical thing that happens in our barrios, and that's how Domino Table Talks was created. And this one in particular, the artist Edra Soto did an installation in Central Park that wanted to elevate, it was called Graft, that wanted to elevate that seminal aspect of our Caribbean culture. So that's how it started. So now it's little episodes, remember that celebrity poker kind of game where you have,
Nice.
That's what we're doing it, but in our own way. And then you get to hear the conversation while they're actually playing dominoes, and it's supposed to go around the city, different core Latino neighborhoods, and it's going to be curated with different people that represent something in that place. So definitely the El Barrio one, we want to have you on in that one as one of the players.
I'm looking forward to that because, domino is like our cultural game.
Yes.
Seriously, and I get it. It's beautiful.
And it's so much about resilience. It's about appropriating space, how we put our footprint in whatever barrio it's happening. So it's so much more.
Well, we're trying to do our best to show and share the different aspects of Historias because that's one of many, right? So what you do have, or the opportunity to still participate in, is the Cruces, which is the Youth Summit.
Yes.
Remesas y sobremesas, que rico sancocho.
Yeah, so there's different signature projects,
Right.
and this one is coming out tomorrow. The Cruces, the MoMA, the Museum of Modern Art, is hosting us and to do a summit of how many Latino organizations and the pedagogies, how they do youth programs. And there are going to be little presentations, workshops all throughout the day. You can still RSVP to join it at our website, and it's going to be a beautiful day.
That's beautiful. And so this is led by the next generation?
This is a project by Historias, but we decided to elevate different organizations within the LXNY network that have distinct cultural program for youth.
Got it, got it. Thank you for clarifying that. And then there's remesas y sobremesas.
So that's kind of like Domino Table Talks. It's also around the table, but it was with the concept of food and how that's so crucial to how we build this city. And it goes into different subject matters, but there's always food at the table, and that's also part of what's curated. So we're approaching arts and culture not as something in a white box gallery. It's about how we're building the city, and culture
Like it's social
rituals.
consciousness, yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
rituals. Those rituals are
Right.
part of how we build the city and how we connect to each other, and they're equally important as, say, something that is in an art gallery or in a pedestal.
Right.
somewhere.
Well,
Yeah.
food is culinary arts.
Yeah, of course, claro.
Not to mention that we all love sancocho.
So
right?
yeah,
This is called
that
Rico
one is,
sancocho.
yes, and that one will be hosted at PS1, and it goes in. All of them focus on different themes, but the food is also curated in a way that gels are riff-offs of whatever is being talked about. So yeah.
By the time this whole program completes, what do you hope for people to leave with about our contributions to New York City? And when I say us, I mean us Latinidad. Yeah.
Of course. Well, it's intersectional. We no one is purist. It's such a amalgam of things that we have to be proud of, and sometimes they're invisible. Sometimes they need to be rescued. So we're not talking only about the big capital, persons or whatever. We're talking about the collective stakes of how we together have built different things, from the community gardens to the las casitas to many different things. That's what New York City is, to the labor movements, to the spirituality that we bring in our migration stories. So that's how we're trying to assemble and rescue stories. So we're tackling historias as, yes, history, but also as stories with capital S, with lower cap S, que son las historias de la gente.
Right.
Y cómo, taken together, they need to be elevated.
With this approach of like, this is art, but it's not solely for the artist community.
It's for everyone. And it's for, you could be amateur historian, and that's an entry point for you to find things and find connections in the website and the repository that we call Nueva York Chronicles, meaning the voice. You can find things from history, but from whether it's filtered through your neighborhood, through a different type of site, whether it's theaters, whether it's community gardens. You can find it more through the different ethnicities within Latinidad. And it's the point being that anyone can be a historian or a historical person with an interest. It doesn't exactly, and it doesn't belong only to academia or to museums or big institutions. So it's a way of democratizing that.
I love that because everybody's story matters.
Claro.
Thank you. Ay, Dios mío, Libertad o Guerra. Honestly, I could stay here all day talking to her and listening to everything that she has.
Thank
her
you for
hands
sharing
on.
this.
Oh my goodness,
Yes. And we hope to come back.
Oh, well, I'm looking forward to it. This is amazing. This is amazing.
We took a lot of time designing that website. It's a labor of love. It's very nice and entertaining because it's not just a dry place to look at something. So I really encourage everyone to just hit historias.nyc and you'll be surprised at all that is there.
Bueno, you heard it here. Libertad o Guerra, Executive Director of the Clemente and Chief Curator of Historias. And once again, we're talking everything Historias, and if you're interested in their programming, you can go to historias.nyc. And to learn more about the contributions our Latinx community have made throughout the century here in New York City, you can click on Nueva York Chronicles at historias.nyc. All right, stay tuned. There's more open when we return.
There's a new channel to explore, and it's bringing the classics back to life. During the day, relive the BronxNet originals that sparked conversations and built community. At night, dive into the hip-hop throwbacks that defined a generation. One destination, two powerful lineups. Now playing on Optimum Channel 952, Fios 2138, and streaming at BronxNet.tv. BX Legacy, where history meets the moment.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Open. My next guest is a dedicated musician who has spent his life performing, teaching, and fostering community through the art of jazz. His impressive career includes touring as a United States jazz ambassador in over 25 countries, as well as performing at iconic venues such as the White House, Lincoln Center, Carnegie Hall, and the Kennedy Center. Here to talk about his new album and what he's been up to, we're going to give it up to the man who dubbed me the Alchemist, co-founder of a Jazz Power Initiative, composer, producer, and Steinway artist, Dr. Eli Yeman.
All right. So great to be here with the Alchemist once again,
Oh
Rena
my
Valentine.
gosh.
Yeah, I love it. Love Open.
Yes, well, we love highlighting you and all the individuals that you have put through our show because, yeah, you've put a lot of people on and you have served as the ambassador of the Jazz Power Initiative. And so I'm super excited to be highlighting you.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you very much. It's a really great opportunity to be here and share more about my work, which is so much about connecting people.
Yeah, and then there's also the fact that you've chosen to come here to showcase your album.
Well, we love BronxNet, and I love Lehman College, and everything this whole campus stands for in bringing diverse people from all backgrounds together and making high academic pursuit and the arts accessible. It's so important, you know?
It is.
Yeah.
It's really an important factor in our humanity and I want to say restoring balance,
Yes.
right?
Yes,
Because
yes.
right now we need a lot of harmony.
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah. And so, but we're going to talk about you. We're going to talk about you. And I want to open up with this first question, which I found very fascinating, which is you've been baptized in the blues, right? According to the New York City Jazz record.
Right. Right. Or sometimes they say even baptized.
Oh,
in the
baptized, right? So, because I want to know, baptized in the blues,
Yeah.
what that means to you personally.
Well, the blues touched me at a very young age. I heard Elizabeth Cotten when I was about 3 or 4 years old, and that scratchy fingers on the guitar, scratchy voice singing. It was like grandma singing to me. And it just got in my bones and started kind of realigning my molecules. And then I heard B.B. King, and I heard Jimi Hendrix, and then I started getting into jazz with Count Basie and Duke Ellington. And it wasn't just music, it was kind of a whole way of life that I became fascinated and mesmerized by and drawn into. And by applying myself to learning about this great legacy from African American culture, it's given me an extraordinary life to be able to travel around the world and meet people, diverse backgrounds, and find common ground. And you know, whenever I go someplace and people don't even speak the same language, with some musicians, all we have to say is blues and B flat, and everybody knows what to do, you know. It's an amazing connector. So baptized to me was a young age. It gave me a life, and it's been a beautiful life.
So, because you said baptized, right? There's this quote about that you've met Thelonious Monk.
Well, that was, I was so honored. Thelonious Monk died before I got into jazz, but his music so deeply touched me when I was in high school. Something about Monk's music is just so individual, really speaks to the teenager kind of looking for your identity.
Right.
And so I got super into Monk and then got to know Amiri Baraka. And he invited me to his house in Newark where he had a jazz club in his basement, Kamako's Blues People. And after I performed Monk there, he said, I had met Thelonious Monk.
So it was
and he knew
metaphorically.
Monk.
Right.
He knew Monk.
Got it.
He was friends with Monk. He was friends with John Coltrane. So hearing that from Amiri Baraka, the writer of Blues People and extraordinary poet and activist and the father of the current Newark mayor, Ras Baraka, hearing that from him just was such a vote of encouragement. And he gave me a lot of encouragement. Yeah.
It's really the context in which you're also, I guess, being baptized
Yes.
into the blues.
Yes, yes. I mean, it's a spiritual music. It's a secular, sacred music. And it draws from this ancient well of wisdom from Africa that those of us who've been kind of touched by it and mentored by the elders really get contact with something very, very precious and powerful. And so to share that in our community, I think is so essential now, especially in the Black and brown communities uptown and in the Bronx, whose communities created this music. You know, this is where the music was born, so we have to make sure that we make it very much present here and available.
I mean, I know you're an educator by trade as well, but just in general, the importance of understanding that you're giving it back to where it originates from.
Yes.
And it's an important practice that
Yes.
everyone should exercise.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And my heroes, they all did that, you know, whether it be Pete Seeger or Miri Baraka or Mercedes Ellington, who I'm very fortunate to be working with now, Duke Ellington's granddaughter. You know, they all saw themselves, you know, or see themselves as, you know, holders of a legacy. And then you have a responsibility with that legacy to share it as those who came before us did.
Yeah, and then there's the humility, right? I mean, I've had you on, what, like maybe 3 times or something like that.
Yeah.
And you're always highlighting somebody else, right?
Yeah.
I opened up with that. And yet, you're a Steinway artist. You know, that's a big deal. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, let's just educate everybody on what it means to be a Steinway artist.
Yeah. Well, Steinway is a wonderful, amazing piano. And I've had one, fortunately, my whole life. I actually have my great-grandmother's piano at home. So I've always played Steinway, and then I got invited to be endorsed by Steinway, so I have access to the pianos when I travel, or when we have a festival in the park, we had a Steinway piano in Inwood Park.
That's right.
Because of that connection. So that's, and sometimes when I record, I get to pick out one of the artist pianos in their special place for artist pianos, you know, and that's wonderful to have an instrument of that magnitude and to play the blues on that instrument, you know, because you know, the piano wasn't necessarily invented to play the blues, but man, we got so many great blues that's been played on it. It's a wonderful thing to do.
Well, it's a wonderful thing. Not only, it's a wonderful thing to do. I mean, we couldn't get the Steinway in today for today's performance.
Right.
But I was there. I witnessed the Steinway out in an outdoor festival,
Right.
which was very impressive.
In Inwood Park.
Yeah. I was like, a Steinway?
Yeah.
In a festival? Outdoors?
Yeah, and that was my dream, actually, to always play a piano, a really great piano in the middle of the park, you know.
Yeah.
In nature.
And so
know?
when you were traveling, was that also part of your arrangement?
No, usually we play a keyboard.
Okay.
Well, if I'm traveling in Europe, yes.
Yes.
You can get Steinways, of course. But if you're traveling in Mali, China, India, Albania, some of the more obscure places, I've been to the country in Guatemala and Chile, you might get a Steinway in Santiago, but if you go out to the countryside, not so much.
So let's talk about this new album.
Yeah.
And the work that it's taken to release it, and
Yeah.
the fact that we're going to get a taste of it here in studio.
Yeah, Squeezing Tight, jazz and blues songs for solidarity. Squeezing Tight, the title track, is about self-love. It's about coming out of the pandemic, and we all had to social distance, and everybody was just kind of hungry for that physical contact. So I started telling some of the students that I was performing with, just give yourself a hug. Let's start there. You know, and we wrote this song, Squeezing Tight, and feel the love and the light inside yourself. So if you start with that kind of self-love, and then you see a neighbor, your heart is open to that neighbor too. And so this is creating a sense of connection. And all these songs are about creating a sense of connection and sourcing the blues and jazz as this magical, mystical way of connecting people from different backgrounds. And we feel it's just so needed now. We need ways for people to feel that connection, for people to feel the safety and the security of loving presence of one another. So that's what these songs are about, you know, whether it be, I did a Freight Train by Elizabeth Cotten, who I mentioned before. I did a Willie Dixon song called My Babe. And I wrote a bunch of songs that reflects this idea. We're going to do Blues Wash today, which is about like washing yourself in the blues, to wash off the dust of life and get a refreshment. But there's many other songs, instrumentals and vocals, 9 originals, 3 covers, and it's all about jazz and blues songs for solidarity, you know? Yeah.
Solidarity, that
Yeah.
is like a key word that we need to really amplify in our current temperature and
Yes.
climate, because
Yes.
we need to exercise that organically.
Yes, yes. Well, if you think about, all the struggles we've had in American history, whether it be the struggle to release ourselves from bondage of slavery or segregation, all the horrible things that have happened. How did we get through those things? It's because people got together and they protested, or they provided resistance, or they provided sustenance to one another. So we know that through the challenges that we're dealing now with, the threats to our wonderful immigrant brothers and sisters who are such an important part of this country, we know that the best way to stand up is to stand together, and that's how we can be strong.
And then from a metaphoric standpoint of fusing blues with jazz,
Yes.
and then there's the spontaneity aspect of it,
Yes.
right? Like you have to trust yourself.
Yes.
And of course be versed, right?
Yes.
But it's really the trust.
Oh, it's so much. I mean, my mentor, Walter Perkins, used to say, you can't buy swing baby sweets. I don't care if you get the biggest names, put them together, it's not necessarily going to gel, because there might not be that trust. But when you get a bunch of people like my group that really have a feeling for one another, we're like brothers and sisters, there's that trust there. We catch each other. And we know that if we take a chance and it doesn't work out, somebody's going to pull you up. And that's a beautiful thing to have in jazz. And it's a beautiful thing about the art form, because as you said, it allows for the spontaneity. So you got the structure, but then you can be free to be totally in the moment. And if you're with trusting brothers and sisters, that can be magic. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I can feel it. I can feel that's how you live your life.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's beautiful. It's
yes.
beautiful, beautiful.
Yes.
So before we go, you want to introduce who's going to be presenting today, and
Yes.
also before we even do that, who you shared the spotlight with in your album, and why you chose them.
Well, these musicians are great cultural bearers of jazz and blues traditions. And our drummer was the great David F. Gibson, who was a longtime resident of the Bronx. And tragically, he passed unexpectedly just this past summer. So we kind of offered this as a tribute to the great drummer David F. Gibson. So we think about him, and his life force is so strong on the album. On the bass, we have the great Elias Bailey. He and I have been playing together over 20 years, and he's a proud member of my good friend Lakeisha Benjamin's Grammy-nominated band, traveling all over the world, but I'm so lucky that he still can come back and play with me here in the Bronx today. And then we've got Zaid Nasser, who's the son of the famous Jamil Nasser. Zaid plays saxophone. He's got this Memphis soul in his alto, and he's featured all over the album, as is Elias. So you can really hear these great musicians and their soul. And today we have a new member, Jasmine James, singing backup vocals. She just moved into our neighborhood in Inwood, and she's just out of college, wonderful young musician, originally from Jamaica. So we're very proud of this crew today, and all the people on the album. And I want to say that the album is co-produced by Jeff Jones, the Jedi Master, who's a Grammy Award-winning producer, and kudos to him for all his help and support, and Jazz Power Initiative, the nonprofit that I continue to run and founded 22 years ago.
Amazing, right? And keeping it intergenerational.
Yeah.
And we are so grateful to you for always bringing it here to not only our studios, but to our viewers.
Oh, well, it's so wonderful to be here, Rena, and we're so glad to be able to perform today on Open. Yes, indeed.
Yes, I'm super excited. You're going to jazz up my Friday, so I'm ready for the weekend.
Yes,
All
yes,
right.
let's go.
All right, you guys, hang in there, because we're going to be listening to Eli Yeaman Jazz and Blues Band when we return. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Open, here now to perform Blues Wash. Let's give it up for Eli Yeaman Jazz and Blues Band.
Boom, boom, boom. Blues Wash is where it's at. Blues Wash is where it's at. Jump up, slide over, roll your hips around. Blues Wash is the magic sound. COVID's got us by the hair. Stress and struggle everywhere. Children home need schooling. National leaders keep fooling. Guess I'll pour another drink. One more mixed in the kitchen sink. Brainwash is what they're dishing. Blues Wash is what we're missing. Blues Wash is where it's at. Blues Wash is where it's at. Jump up, slide over, roll your hips around. Blues Wash is the magic sound. Go ahead. Yeah. Clubs closed up and gigs online, making it tough to earn a dime. Tech men making all the dough, pumping the latest story about Pinocchio. Don't you know you gotta pay the band? Your Libyans will rise across this land. Brainwash is what they're dishing. Blues Wash is what we're missing. Blues Wash is where it's at. Blues Wash is where it's at. Jump up, slide over, roll your hips around. Blues Wash is the magic sound. Here's to the nurses making people all right. Here's to the doctors in the middle of the night. Here's to the mom making it one more day. Here's to the dad getting a bit more gray. Dance to the music and move to the beat. Nobody can stop you from getting out of your seat. Brainwash is what they're dishing. Blues Wash is what we're missing. Blues Wash is where it's at. Blues Wash is where it's at. Jump up, slide over, roll your hips around. Blues Wash is the magic sound. Hey, where are you going, Jasmine?
I'm going to get a Blues Wash.
All right. Damn.
Ooh, yes. Blues Wash is where it's at.
That's what I'm saying.
Everyone, Eli Yamin, Jazz and Blues Band. All right. Once again, you can listen to the full album on Bandcamp, or you can get a physical copy there as well. It's also available on all streaming platforms. For full liner notes, you can go to eliyamin.com. That is our show today, mi gente. Thanks to all our guests for coming through, and to you, our viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of the show, you can check out this episode throughout the weekend and 24 hours a day at BronxNet.tv. I'm Rena Valentin, and from all of us here at Open, may the universe provide paz, prosperity, y amor. Blues Wash is where it's at.